First off, you're gonna need the Reactor plugin. A link will be below the like button. The download will be a Lua file, Lua. You just drag and drop it into a blank composition in Fusion, and it will ask you to install. Once installed, go into the search bar and type in audio, and you're gonna look for the Suckless Audio plugin. If you download Reactor in the past and need to reopen it, simply go to Workspace, Scripts, Reactor, open Reactor. From there, type in audio and download the plugin. Like most things in DaVinci, there's more than one way to create a visualizer. We'll start off easy, and then we get into the more complex. Now, the audio modifier only recognizes WAV files. So if the song that you're trying to use is not a WAV file, this is the way you can convert it. You'll take whatever audio you have, go straight into Delivery tab. This file is already a WAV, but you can hit the drop-down arrow and select different formats, select WAV. You can give it a title, add it to render queue, and render it out. And for this first example, I'm just going to use my channel logo. I'm going to take that into Fusion. And since the logo is a little big here, I'm actually going to grab a transform node, drop it on my node flow. In the Inspector tab, I'm going to drop down the size a little bit. Then I'm going to grab a second transform. Back in the Inspector tab, I'm going to right click on the size, go to Modify Width, and scroll down to see Modifiers, and then hit Audio. The Modifier tab will then be available. I'm going to click on it. On the WAV file, I'm going to click Browse and find my tracks. You can increase the amplitude scale if you want, basically just maximizing how far the effect will take place. Now, you won't be able to hear the sound here. If you don't want your image to be so big, just cut down the scale. Back on the edit page, drag and drop my track, and it will just play from beginning to end. Of course, this here is a photo, so I can just simply drag this out, and it will just continue to synchronize with the beat. Now, with this being the picture, I can also just stretch this out. So if there's a particular portion of the song that I want, I can just go in here and split the clips. Then just delete the rest. Ripple delete. I can cut off the back end. And then just play this part here. Now to get the image that you saw in the thumbnail of the video, that's the more complex part. To get started, we're going to go to the Effects tab, or the Effects. I'm going to grab a Fusion composition. We're then going to go into Fusion. We're going to build out our visualizer. We're going to grab a background node, connect it to the media out, then going to drop down to alpha. We're just going to set the foundation for our composition. From there, we're going to grab a fast noise. We're going to take the output of the fast noise, connect it to the output of the background node. It's going to create a merge node. We're going to go into the Inspector tab with the fast noise on the color. Going to change it from two-tone to gradient. From gradient type, we're going to change it to linear. We got two different colors on this black here. I'm just going to drop down the alpha to absolute 0. Then we're going to move the gradient up to make it more or less black and white. Well, more or less transparent and white. We're going to move this all the way over as well. To get rid of the little wiggly line, we're going to go back to noise in the Inspector tab and then drop down to detail. Now in the Inspector tab where it says start, we're going to double click and type 0.5. And then on the end, we'll type 0.5 as well. Now, if the image disappears on the Y, just going to highlight the numbers and move it up a little bit. And it's going to bring back the composition. Now, you want this line to actually repeat. So we're going to go down here to where it says repeat. It says once, we're going to click repeat. It's going to give us a bunch of little lines here. With the fast node select, you're going to click on the polygon mask. The composition is going to go blank. You're going to select a point, hold shift, and select another point. It's going to give you a straight line. In the Inspector tab on the border width, I'm just going to crank it up just a little bit. We'll go back into the fast noise. In the inspector, we're going to select the end y-axis and then drop it down some more to form out our visualizer. You adjust it to your liking. If you want the rounded top here, you can leave it like that, or you can go back into the polygon mask and select the cap here for flat. Now with your fast noise selected, hit Control and Space, or Command and Space if you're on Mac. You're gonna look for the duplicate node. You're gonna select the first one. The second one is a 3D node. We don't need that one. Go into the Inspector tab, double click. I'm gonna select 30 for 30 copies. Then I'm gonna move the center axis over, creating my copies. And for that, I'm gonna highlight these nodes. I'm actually move these up a little bit. And with the duplicate node selected, I'm gonna go and select a transform node. With the transform node, I can actually move my visualizer over to center screen. If you Control G, it will actually bring up a guide and help you better find the center of your composition. If you want to control or adjust the polygon mask, you actually move this over to the side here. I'm gonna bring in a transform node. I'm gonna right click on the output and bring it up to the transform. It's gonna then give me an option to ask me which input I want to connect to. For this, I'm going to put input, then I'm gonna right click on here and drag into the fast noise. There's only one option, the effect mask. The reason I did it that way, because if you by default try to just place the transform in there, it just makes it another mask. But I wanted this to be able to control the polygon mask. So using this, I can actually increase the size if I want to. I can also move it on different axes. Select the polygon mask and go into the inspector tab. And what we're going to animate is actually the length. So you see there, it disappears as we drop down. So we're going to right click, modify width, modifiers, audio. You're going to go and select modifier, go and browse for our file. From that point, you're pretty much done. Now, if you want to, you can go into the fast noise, change the color from white to something else. So I'm going to change it to red like I did in the example. Then I'm going to click this merge one node here. I'm going to hit control space or command space, bring up a soft glow. I'm going to turn down the gain a little bit. For further tweaking, I'm going to the duplicate node. I'm going to jitter on the inspector tab. I'm going to hit random seed, and I'm going to increase the size. Increasing the size kind of changes it to move more or less like in Z space. If you want to as well, you can right click, modify width, modifiers, back at the audio. You're going to select the same song. You can kind of turn up the scaling a little bit. And you'll see it kind of jitter back and forward. Now back on your edit page, you just simply move the composition up. You can move the album art underneath it. Then of course you want to place the song underneath. It's just a song I got from Epidemic Sound. And here's your finished product.
Heads up, nigga. We gonna be all right.
Now, of course, this is all gonna be customized to your liking, but this is one way you can do a visualizer. If you like today's video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for future DaVinci Resolve content, and I'll see you next time. Appreciate you watching. Don't tell my girl I was homeless. Was wasting the time that we could